Hi, and welcome to my channel, Laura's Library Card. So today I am here, I've dragged my husband Benjamin back onto my channel, kicking and screaming, and I read him another book out loud, and so we are here to talk about this. I read Horrorstör by Grady Hendrix aloud, and it was scurry.
It was thrilling at moments, yeah.
I'll put this up here. I moved all my library books out of the way. What's it going to say?
Don't breathe, it'll be fine.
I moved all my library books out of the way, and then right before we started filming, I said, "Oh no,
It looks so empty.
it looks so empty." But look how perfect this is working out.
Yeah.
So this book is a horror thriller novel, and our main character is named Amy. She works at a IKEA type store. It's like a knockoff of IKEA. They deliberately actually say that Orsk is a knockoff of IKEA. And it's just like a humdrum life, and then but some weird stuff is kind of happening in the night when the store is closed, and so her manager asks her to stay with him and one other employee to help try to figure out what is happening in the night. And there are scurry things happening in the night. It is definitely sort of a paranormal element. Supernatural, paranormal.
Yeah.
Paranormal elements that are happening in the night, and Amy and her compatriots all get sucked into this rather unwillingly, and that's as much as the summary as I'm going to give right now. We basically read the whole thing in two sittings.
Yeah, in 2 sittings with 12 hours maybe.
You think it took 12 hours to read all of it?
No, it didn't take 12 hours, but over 12 hours.
Oh, sure, yes. A little bit yesterday and some today. And so tell me your thoughts overall.
I thought it was good. The the characters were likable enough. The scary parts were scary, but they weren't I don't know. I'm so deadened by cheap jump scares from video games that written horror doesn't get me as much anymore. I don't know why, but
okay. For me, this is my second Grady Hendrix. I had
read the Southern Book Club Vampire
Guide to Slaying Vampires, yes. And it made such an impact on me last year that I actually chose it for one of my top 5 books of 2021.
Wow. High praise.
Not necessarily because it was so amazing, but partly because it was just so different from what I normally read. And I do think that the author was bringing up a lot of social commentary in that book, more so than in this book for me. And also, this was my second foray into Grady Hendrix and also into horror that I recall recently. And I agree. I don't feel that this one was quite so scary to me compared to the first one that I read.
You think the first book was scarier?
Yes. This book does play on some of the same elements, using rats and fear of the dark, some of those elements that are inherent to human nature, and kind of using those to be the horror elements. And while the first book has a vampire in it, so that is sort of a supernatural element that is scary. This one has paranormal moments, but to me this one just sort of felt like I don't know, a haunted house kind of stuff.
Oh yeah, for sure. For sure.
I don't know. I've only ever seen 10 minutes of one of the Saw movies, but there was a little bit of that element I think happening, only because each one of them was had to do their own thing.
I love that you saw 10 minutes of Saw 3 and you're like, oh, this must be what the franchise is about, right? What? And we need to sit down and watch all the Saw movies.
No. But for me, it was not as scary as the first book. I'm not 100% sure why, but I think some of that might be because I was reading it out loud as opposed to listening to the audiobook, which was what my experience was for the first book. And so I think there's a big difference between taking it coming in and then out. I'm the transmitter, I'm not experiencing it quite so fully. I've said this before, that I don't feel like I experience it quite as fully when I'm reading it out loud. But I don't know. I'm not sure exactly why I didn't find it quite so scary. It seemed easier to be like fake.
Yeah.
It was.
There was also a level, and I don't know if this was true for the book club book, but the level of like, I feel like there was a lot of like satire and comedy in this book, even in the moments that were like supposed to be like high tension, high octane moments. They're like, oh, haha, retail worker, in a way that I'm like, I get that as a retail worker, like that resonates with me, which I think was pretty funny. So I think there was a nice balance of like cutting the tension in those moments with that sort of satire. Did it necessarily like benefit the book? No, I don't know. I enjoyed it, but I feel like a non-retail employee maybe wouldn't appreciate it as much.
Yeah. I mean, I have retail experience. It's not the bulk of my work experience. It's a small part of my work experience, but I definitely could like sympathize with a lot of those points. And I think that was one of the main points that he was trying to kind of talk about in this book, was that, you know, the main character of Amy has always worked retail. She's worked hourly. She's worked minimum wage or barely more than that. You know, never really has access to benefits, and she can never get ahead. She, in her life, feels like she's constantly behind. She never can make enough money to pay the rent, pay her bills. She's mooching off of people, and it's like she feels like a failure. And I felt like that was a really interesting commentary that...
Are we getting into spoilers at this point?
Well, I'm just saying that, like, I think that's pretty clear from early on, is that she, you know, feels that she's stuck in this cycle. So, I don't know, I felt that was kind of interesting and has been sort of a relevant discussion that my coworkers and I are talking about, is how, like, the world keeps moving and the cost of things, price of living, it keeps going up, and yet the salaries and people's pay is not also proportionately going up, and so it sort of feels like we're starting to get stuck in that. You know, I can definitely see that for a lot of people in the world. So I felt like that was interesting commentary. So let's just give our kind of overall thoughts, and then if there's anything you want to say that's spoilery, we can put it here at the end to delineate things. Do you want to go first, or want me to go first?
Go first.
I felt like this book was good and interesting and scary, but not quite to me as scary as the Southern Book Club's Guide to Slaying Vampires. I thought this one had sort of more layered in with that paranormal element. It was a bigger component of this book for sure. So I feel like if you like that idea of like haunted house, things are not as they seem, parallel dimension BS, then you, I think, would like this book. And if you want to be sort of enraged by social commentary, problematic issues, then maybe the vampire book might be a smidgen better. I still enjoyed Grady Hendrix' writing style. I felt like it was very readable.
It flowed nicely.
Yeah, and like Ben pointed out, there was some levity that was brought in by the character interactions. I felt like that was sort of the whole point of Basil's character, was that he was not funny being funny as a character, but like to us as the readers, he was constantly the one where we were like, what are you doing, my guy? And he was just like, well, I'm a supervisor, so this is my job. And I'm like, no, get out.
Idiot. Run!
So I did enjoy it overall, and I'm interested in reading more, both by this author and in this genre. Your turn.
No, she stole all the good points. I like the character of Amy a lot. I thought she's just, maybe it's because I'm a burnt out retail worker that I identify with her a lot. And I also relate to her disdain for Basil being the like corporate, like goody two shoes type character. The like I said, the book flowed. It was interesting. There were little like IKEA-esque like diagrams at the starts of each chapter that were sort of like a fun, like, you know, relevant to the future of the book sort of thing. I liked it. I would give it a 3 out of 5.
I'm not really rating my books all the time.
I am. This is my channel now. Ben's Book Bonanza.
Well, that's pretty good.
I know.
Yeah.
The alliteration. You can't go wrong.
Okay, so is there anything spoilery that you want to talk about?
Not really.
Okay, well, thank you so much for being on my channel, allowing me to drag you back on.
Thank you for reading to me for 4 hours.
Yeah, that was fine. Fine with me. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you have read Horrorstör or another one of Grady Hendrix's books that you would recommend, or another horror book that you recommend, please leave that down in the comments.
We probably won't read it because we're screwed, but...
Well, I did say that I want to try to read more thrillers in 2022. I think I might need to like wait a little while before I try another horror book, but like I do kind of want to get more into like the mystery thriller genre. So if you have a good mystery thriller, feel free to leave that down in the comments as well. Thank you for watching. Tune in next time. Let us know if there's something that you do want Ben on for. We have been talking about Bridgerton season 2.
Bridgerton, sorry.
And we are hopefully going to watch some Wheel of Time, but I don't know if we're going to make any content about that. You do want to watch it though. I'm gonna make you watch it. And
you're watching it.
Yeah, the end. Full stop. I'm pulling the wife card. The end. So thank you for watching. Tune in next time. Bye.
Bye.